And by we, I mean me. Anyway, do you want to explain what tonight is about?
Yeah, so last year, as we all know, it was just bonkers. Really turbulent year.
Don't know what you mean.
And
Last year was perfectly fine.
quite a few possible threats popped up for this year. And the threats I've got listed down are food shortages, this so-called cyber COVID, financial threats, and security threats. So each Tuesday, we're going to just go through one of those threats. Just a bit of an overview, and we'll just a discussion of it as well. So there is an article that accompanies each stream, and it's on the White Rose and Thorn website. So Jordan can post a link to the first one.
It's almost as if we're connected. I was doing it just as you started to lead into it.
So yeah, so the idea of these is I've gone away and done some thinking about what the threats are, how we can mitigate them, and then we can open it up to everybody in the stream, have a discussion, see if we can maybe flesh out some ideas, get some new suggestions, and hopefully we can we can not all die this year.
That'd be a nice change. Apparently, there's millions of us dying every day.
Oh yeah.
Or at least there's 60,000 people a day getting COVID. So same thing, I suppose.
Right. So this stream is going to be about food supply shortages or food supply problems. So we're ready to get started?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So one of the biggest threats, and it's barely talked about in the mainstream media, apart from very sparse articles, there's no connections being drawn to them, and is this idea of food supply shortages coming this year? The UN has raised the alarm, and there's been a few articles in the mainstream media about that, but then it dies down again. So the Ice Age Farmer, who's got a fantastic YouTube channel and BitChute channel, the links are in the article.
He's just started doing BitChute exclusives, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Not so much for you, but for the chat, for anyone who follows him on YouTube. Definitely follow him on BitChute as well.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's been really going hard into this. I first heard about him because of you, Jordan. So if you've been watching him for longer, you'll have a better understanding of the sort of content he's made beforehand.
I'm pretty certain I only found out about him about an hour before I posted a link. So I've been following him for exactly 1 hour longer than you.
So did you watch one of his videos start flapping and thought, we need to post this in the stream?
What happened was I found him years ago. I don't even know why or how. I just vaguely have this memory of finding him years ago because the name really stands out. Ice Age Farmer, it's a cool name. And then when was it, about two, maybe 3 months ago, came across him again and I watched a video and thought, oh, okay, that's new. I haven't heard about any of this before. What's going on here? And then I poked around. And lo and behold, everything he said was right. And that's when I thought, okay, there's definitely something I don't know about. I'm posting the link. I knew somebody else would pick it up and dig through it with me. But yeah, we've actually been following him roughly the same amount of time.
All right.
I binge watched pretty much every video he made this year in the course of 2 or 3 days.
I bet that put you in the right state.
It certainly made me put things in perspective. It's like, okay, that's an actual problem, and we need a proper solution for that. Just sitting around isn't doing anything, so better get on with it. That's when I created the planting timetable thing.
All right.
Also, to be more precise, that's when I came up with the idea for it. I finally created it a little while later, mainly because it was a boring pig to create. Good God, going through a spreadsheet. And I wouldn't mind I'd create it twice because originally I only made it so each month was one cell, and that's not going to work. Because obviously you have things that you need to plant early in the month, things you need to plant later in the month. So, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Well, what he's been talking about is large reductions in crop yields, especially in, I think it's Argentina that there's had a load of problems, but across the board, I mean, even in this country, large numbers of animals being killed due to both disease and fires. The disease on the disease front, there's the bird flu that's cropped up now, and we're just having tons of problems, tons of birds being killed. I think 30,000 chickens the other day from one farm, and
100,000 geese.
Geese as well. Yeah, it's really not good.
I meant to do this earlier on. We should start keeping a tally. How many animals have been killed off each? Well, at this moment in time, it feels like every day, but certainly each week and each month.
Yeah.
That way we can go back and say, right, we've lost X million birds this year because of this.
Yeah, that's a good idea. There's also a destruction of grain silos. Where was that port in?
Lebanon. I knew you'd bring that up.
I'm going to say England.
Oh, the one at Tilbury.
Tilbury.
I was absolutely amazed at that because I used to live there.
All right.
So I used to live there, and I heard it went up on the news. I was like, okay, that's bloody weird. Yeah. And I started digging into that a little bit as well, and there's a couple of very strange things about that as well.
Yeah. Well, there's in Argentina, there's destruction of is it Argentina? I think that or Brazil. I can't remember now. One of the two. There's destruction of, I think it's soy products. They're destroying these vandals have been destroying the soy products. It's all adding up to a not a very good position whatsoever.
The soy thing is a really strange one, because even though everyone likes to take the mick out of soy, it is actually a really important crop. That's why we grow it. Yeah. So it's fine and dandy people taking the mick out of it, but when they're not growing enough of that, or when the harvest of that is so bad, it isn't a good time for us.
No. And I think in one of the latest videos by the Ice Age Farmer, we were talking about all these big American, I think it's pig farms. The big ones. They're going to stop buying feed from Brazil. I think that Brazil produces 60% of the world's supply of this. So this is a serious thing, and they're doing it to sort of act against the destruction of the rainforest. It's just happening at a very suspicious time.
Yeah, they do love doing that. I was trying to think how to carefully go around that one, but yeah, they do. It's so incredibly disingenuous. Like, we need to save the environment. How are we going to do that? By not buying soy from this one particular part of Brazil. So, okay. That's a reasonable thing to say normally, and I'll accept that. But when there's such an incredible pressure being placed on the food supply at the moment anyway, that's not a good idea, and that's certainly not an accident.
No.
But it's like everything. None of this is an accident at the moment. If you look at the number of granaries that have gone up, the biggest bakery in Sweden went up a couple of months ago.
Oh, right.
That, even though that's a very odd thing, it's a very niche thing, it's just Sweden, doesn't really affect us here. It's another attack. It's another thing in the food supply going wrong, and it's always the massive ones.
Oh, yeah. Every little thing, it all adds up. And
well, look at 100 duck just before Christmas that were, I assume, gassed. I have absolutely no idea. That's an incredible number of duck. 100,000 duck just gone.
Yeah. Well, Well, as well as all of that, there's the World Economic Forum's idea of stopping us from eating meat, and this is going to be important in this as well. Because if you can stop the easiest way to stop farming animals is to stop feeding them, because then they have to die, and they'll die, and then they're not going to be there for us to eat.
No, exactly. And who's the man behind the bloody fake food nonsense?
Oh,
Mr.
yeah.
Bill Gates. Who would ever possibly have seen that?
Well, in one video, we're talking about how he's looking forward to making loads of profit from selling fake meat.
Yeah, if I remember rightly, the exact quote was, I've made a lot of money through my tech investments, but I'm going to make a lot more through food.
Yeah.
Well, through my artificial meat, or whatever the term he used was.
So, I think do you reckon we've set the scene?
I think we have. I think everybody is suitably depressed.
Yeah, good.
Good, that's what I like to hear.
Right, so the solutions to this, none of them are so out there that if none of this, comes to pass, if everything ends up fine, no one's going to lose out if they go along with them. They're going to put us in a better position anyway. This stuff we should be doing. So the first one is stockpile food. Now, you don't want to be one of those people that has 10 grams worth of tins of spam.
What's always spam?
Yeah, always you gotta have spam, don't you? You don't want to do that. That's just silly. But having 3 to 6 months supply of tins and pasta, rice, things like that, it's just sensible, especially now that I'm hearing because of this another lockdown, people are panicking again with the toilet rolls and all that.
Oh, naturally.
Yeah, so it's just a good thing to have. And if there's any short-term problems, well, you don't have to flap like everyone else. You're fine. Now, Joe and Jordan have done a food storage guide, so the link to that is both in the article and on the website itself. So have you got anything you want to talk about in regards to that one before we move on?
I do, actually. Just before Christmas. Actually, no, not just before Christmas. It was the 17th of December. I bought £12 of pasta. And I got an email yesterday saying that they're having trouble acquiring it, or trouble getting hold of it, whatever language they used. And they asked me if I would like to wait or if I would like a refund. A part of me thinks they're going to try and blame that on Brexit.
Yeah.
There was nothing in the email that outright said it, but it kind of goes along with that. But I think they're genuinely just struggling to get a hold of stuff. Or at least certain people are stockpiling it. The likes of Tesco and Asda and whoever else there is on the continent.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else has had such an experience.
Well, I think when it comes to stockpiling, you don't want to be one of those people who goes to the supermarket tomorrow and buys 20 cans of tuna and or something like that. No, just buy an extra can or two of tins of beans or tuna or things like that. Just add an extra one or two of things every week, and yeah, you'll eventually build it up, and you'll leave stuff for other people. Right, I'll move on. So the second
I have a comment to read, sorry.
Oh, go on.
There's been a blight effect in the pasta tree.
Well, so that's the short-term way of dealing with it. The longer-term ones, the first part is growing your own food. So, easy way to get started is, you probably all guessed it, microgreens and seed sprouts. Now, it's a good way to just, it's really inexpensive and it's easy. So you can start building up that confidence and that knowledge. And it doesn't require a lot of space. This is, as you probably already know, I'm sick to death of know that I'm doing that. Now, the disadvantage that I can see is that they're low in calories. So if you're having to rely on this, you're going to be eating a lot to have enough energy to do anything, and they don't really have enough mass to be a main part of a meal, like carrots and broccoli, for example. But they are highly nutritious additions to the meal. They're very tasty. And if we are having to rely on things like tins, which they don't really have a lot of nutrients, certainly lacking of it, it can just help to mitigate some of that, which I think will make you a lot healthier during that time. So I've done an overview on that. So again, that's on the forum and it's linked in the article. So you want to say anything about that?
We've covered microgreens. Bloody tiny salad. It's the worst form of salad.
Right, so the next one is mushrooms.
I never thought of asking this, actually. Well, I do want to talk about microgreens once again. Who would have thought something so small could provide so much content? Well, when you have a microgreen salad, how much do you reckon that costs in comparison to a bag of salad? Or however you normally do salad. I'm not a salad eater. This is the wrong person asking this question.
What, you mean like lettuce?
Yeah. Like, is the price comparable?
Oh, I don't know. I think lettuce would be a lot cheaper. I mean, bear in mind, microgreens came out of like Michelin star chefs. So they'd sprinkle a little bit on that, on the meals, to add a bit of flavour, because they're full of it. What forum? It's the White Rose and Thorn website. So can you post
I've actually just posted the wrong link.
That's always helpful.
Exactly. Sorry about that, Paul. There you go, mate. That's the actual link I wanted.
All right. So yeah, it's really an addition to a meal. I mean, think about watercress. It's my limited experience with the growing microgreens. They look like that. Pretty much everything looks like that so far. So yeah, you're not really going to have a microgreen salad. It's going to be an addition to it.
A bit of filler, basically.
A bit of garnish.
Same thing, in my opinion.
Right, do you want to move on to mushrooms?
Yeah. Oh, I love the mushroom one.
Well, that's another inexpensive one, and which is very simple to start with. And you don't need a lot of space. You might run into some problems with the humidity. I think it's the humidity and the temperature and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. But there is ways around that is inexpensive. I haven't given mushrooms a try. I don't know if I will. We'll leave that for somebody else to try. But they're very versatile to cook with. They're tasty and nutrient dense, and you can just have them in loads of different things. So I've done an overview on that. So that's also linked in the article.
Mushrooms is one thing that I really, really want to try. I thought about doing that before for years, and I've never gotten around to it. I've never really looked into it terribly much, but when you posted that, I started digging into it a lot. It actually did really, really well on Gab. It's still our most popular post there.
All right.
It's just a really interesting thing. I think it's kind of cool because we all logically know that you can grow mushrooms. It can't be that difficult at the end of the day. They're just kind of these little things that grow in the dark. Like, It doesn't take a genius to work out how to grow those. Surely we all have that intrinsic belief. But
Yeah.
hardly anybody has ever done it. Well, seemingly hardly anybody's ever done it. I certainly don't know anyone who has. Do you?
No.
Such a strange thing.
Well, apparently the garden centres are going to be open now we're all under house arrest. So it might be a good time to pop down to your local garden centre and try and find one of those kits. Or failing that, try and buy one online.
Yeah, exactly. Buy it online, buy a kit out of a garden centre, whatever. Try and make it work.
Yeah.
And then if you enjoy it and you get better and better and better at it, grow away from the kit. You can buy the little seed plugs or whatever they call them.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'll have to go read the thing to find out. But yeah, I know exactly what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They're like you can get feed pellets, can't you? That's like grain that's been saturated in the
spawn. That's what they call it. So you have grain spawn rather, or you can have sawdust substrate spawn. I don't like this word spawn coming out of my mouth. It's very uncomfortable. Let's move on from that word.
So yeah, that's another alternative.
It's spores. Donny Armour's right. That's what I would have called it. But they refer to them as spawn. I think it's just because they like making people feel uncomfortable. Or at least like making me feel it.
So are you ready to move on?
Yeah, I am.
So the third one in this part is gardening. So that's growing fruit and veg, both outdoors, and you can actually grow them indoors as well. I've got a book called Indoor Edible Garden, which I'm currently reading, and it's pretty interesting to see what you can actually grow. It's there's a lot more than you'd think. So I'm going to have to give that a go as well. And you don't actually need a lot of land. You can do it in just 3 square feet. Another book I've got is called Grow All You Can Eat in 3 square feet. So I haven't had a look through that. I've had a look through it, but I haven't read it yet. But it's amazing how where you can grow vegetables and fruit, even in like the corners of paths. So yeah, it's if you can start growing fruit and veg, getting that experience now, it will really pay dividends in the future. And if you get a surplus, you can either give it to your neighbours, helping to build that community spirit. You can store it as preserves. Store it in preserves, so things like jams, marmalades, pickles, etc. And then you can add that to your stockpile.
It's remarkable how little room you need in order to grow quite a lot of food. I've seen loads and loads of people with like little 10-foot areas, and they're growing a whole bunch. People with 20 foot are doing a heck of a lot.
Oh yeah, it is amazing. It's so rewarding. Even just getting into the routine of watering them every morning and every afternoon, it's really good.
Watering's the worst part for me.
Well, don't you like? It's relaxing, and you're nurturing the plant, and you get to see the thing growing, and that's the rewarding part.
Yeah, but I don't like being relaxed. This is my thing, I'm not somebody who's like, oh, let's go down to the beach and just sit there and do very little all day. I like doing stuff. So just standing there, kind of peeing over some plants is rather boring.
Well, I should hope you're not peeing over plants.
Well, over the nettles, maybe.
No, well, maybe not relaxed, because I agree. I'm similar to you. Perhaps serene. You'd be more serene. Maybe that's a better word.
I can accept that. That's a much better term.
So, yeah. Have you got anything to discuss on that?
I think it would be well worth looking into tiny gardens.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be doing an overview on that. I think Jonathan Same said he'd it helped me out. So that's going to be
That would
fantastic.
be really interesting. What is the smallest amount of land you need in order to produce X amount of food? And then from that, I suppose really it must all be about timing. Like when you put stuff in, what you plant with it, so companion planting is what it's called, I think. Just that sort of thing, just being clever with the land that you have, rather than making it all crammed in and squished.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting and to see how much space you'll need to try and. I don't know if you'd be able to completely become self-sufficient in a normal sort of UK garden. I don't know if that'd be possible. The good life. But it'd be interesting to know if you can maybe, I don't know, halve your grocery bill. So fruit and veg for a year. That might be a good goal to have, or maybe you reduce it by 25%.
Even 25% would be some doing.
Oh yeah.
You think if you're spending, I don't know, 200 quid a month or whatever on food for you and your family. If you're then able to knock that down to 150, first off, that's money in your pocket and not in theirs.
Yeah.
And beyond that, it gives you something to do through lockdown.
Yeah, and it also tastes a lot better than the supermarket.
Shop bought strawberries are awful. Who's ever got hold of a shop bought strawberry and thought, "Oh, this is the pinnacle of strawberries. Thank God this thing existed." They're awful. They're just bland. They're watery. They're big, and they have that weird white thing going on top. And when you bite into it, it's always significantly colder than everything else.
I've not experienced that.
Obviously, I have weird strawberries. You get like a nice strawberry that's fresh off the plant. Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you can buy the little tiny alpine strawberries as well, and they're really, really small but dry. They're just very, very tasty. But that concentrated strawberry.
Well, the same with meat as well. If you buy from a butcher's, it's just infinitely better. It's just mind blowing the difference between buying meat from a butcher's and buying it from a supermarket.
Yeah, they must go along to the cheapest meat monger they could possibly find and say, "Yeah, I'll have some of that, thanks."
Well, it might be full of preservatives or something's done with it that makes it last longer, but at the expense of flavour and presumably the nutrition. But I don't know.
See, Susie's onto it. This is the exact sort of thing I meant when I said about companion planting and working out how to grow what and where. You grow little alpine strawberries underneath something else. You've basically doubled the amount of growing area that you have.
I've not heard of alpine strawberries.
They're tiny little things. Also, Jonathan, I said per month, not a week. 200 quid a week on food's a lot of money.
Well, it's even worse. You said we were talking about fruit and veg. So,
can I have an alpine strawberry of a reasonable size? Okay, there you go. These will work. Where's it gone? There you go.
Are you going to bring some up on the street on this?
Indeed, I am. It may cut us off. Who knows? But there you go. That's what they are. They're genuinely tiny little things.
Looks like it'll be good for desserts.
Oh, that'd be a waste. That'd be an absolute travesty. Just go along, you eat them. Like a goat. But yeah, there you go. That's an alpine strawberry for you. Everybody should grow them. They're wonderful.
Right. So, shall we go on to the final part?
Absolutely.
Right. So the final part is going to be raising your own food. So as we've already discussed, the World Economic Forum's plan. Yeah, they're not. They don't want us to eat meat, by the sounds of it. They want us to eat bugs, which I don't know about you, but I'm not really a fan of that.
They love their cricket burgers.
Oh, they can eat them. They're welcome to them. But obviously, things like cows, sheep, pigs, etc. You need a lot of land, so I've left them out because I don't know how many people that'd be feasible for. But to get started, I've put down chickens and rabbits. Now, with the chickens, they're normally the first type of animal people think about when it comes to raising their own animals. So I think, from my understanding, you can have them. You can have varieties that are either primarily for eggs, primarily for meat, or you can have ones that are a combination of the two. There's even shorebirds, which is something I never knew existed.
Are they just extra pretty?
Yeah. So you don't need a lot of space for them, although more space the better. So bantam varieties are something that might be worth looking into a bit more. They're smaller varieties.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming they'll use, like, they need less space, and it might be a bit easier for people to start with. I'm going to be doing an overview on this, and it'll be linked to this article once it's finished. Now, at the moment, there are this whole bird flu. There's a bird flu that's supposedly going around. It's hard to know whether it's, what the truth is or not. And the UK government have basically, at least temporarily, banned free range chickens. So you can't have your chickens outside. You've got to move them inside. That's what I understand from the restrictions.
Mm-hmm. Is there a limit on that? Like, let's say you only have 2 chickens. Do they still need to be taken inside?
That I don't know.
I don't know either. I would imagine they do, because I haven't seen any sort of number on it.
Yeah, I think you're probably right with that. So
I'll have to look into it. But I would imagine it's all animals. I was asking you in case you know.
No, it's not something I've looked into yet. It's on the list. I'm just looking
at get around to that.
Looking at Roy Bob's comment. Chickens over 6, you need a license.
I thought it was 50.
That's something like I'll probably find out when I'm doing the research.
But I looked into this earlier on. I'm 100% certain it's 50. 1 second. It's not a license, it's registration, but same thing.
Yeah.
Yes, here you go. Compulsory registration form. Keep it of 50 or more birds. And that includes all poultry, including pigeon, which is something that Donning Armour mentioned. So there you are. That also includes chicks as well. So basically any live bird that you're keeping for food.
What about racing pigeons?
That's a really good question. All it said was pigeons. So I'm going to say yes. You have to have that as well. So if you have 50 racing pigeons or 50 messenger pigeons or anything else, tough cookie.
Well, if you said it's for meat, can't you have 49 chickens and then maybe another load of racing pigeons?
Got like 49 chickens, and then you've just got 50 pigeons who come and visit, and they live with the chickens as well, but they're not actually mine.
Well, so yeah, then there's
Tisk. Do you see that Australian company's gotten in trouble for their bat sandwich advert?
No, I've not seen that.
I haven't seen it either. I just saw it on the BBC and I saw the headline and I was like, yeah, good on you, lads. That's all the headline was. Australian advert Sorry, Australian bat sandwich advert banned. I saw that. I knew instantly all I needed to know. I couldn't even tell you what the company was. It was just bloody hilarious.
Right, so the last one is rabbits. So rabbits, another great way of providing yourself with meat. So like chickens, they don't require a lot of space, but they are solitary animals, so they want to have their own cages. Otherwise, they'll end up fighting each other. You also need to have a plan in place for what to do with all the baby rabbits if you're going to allow them to breed. And well, you've seen baby rabbits. I don't think you'd be.
Well, no. What you do is you feed them some microgreens. They become not baby rabbits, and then you eat them.
But you still need to put them somewhere. Like as these baby rabbits grow, eventually you'll need their own cages.
Rabbit skyscrapers.
So you can probably imagine that if you haven't got a plan, you'll be building up a load of hutches very quickly. If you haven't got a plan in place. I mean, you can always sell them to other people.
Absolutely. Well, that's a pretty decent little income, I would reckon.
Yeah. So that's another thing I'm going to be doing an overview on. But again, it's added to the list.
You know what else you could do with rabbits?
Go on.
Rabbit leather.
Rabbit leather?
Yeah. You'd be able to take the fur and make them into, like, I was going to say jumpers. I don't know why. But no, you could not make them into jumpers. You could make them into coats, though, and things like that.
What, you'd sew the leather together?
Yeah. I've never actually seen it as leather, but definitely as fur.
All right.
Yeah, you can make some pretty nice little warm jackets and stuff out of them.
Yeah. Well, if you've got your own rabbits and you're slaughtering them yourself, I mean, you probably want to be using as much of the animal as possible, and wasting as little as possible. So that would be a good idea, something to look into. So, right. So that's what I've got down so far. So hopefully it gives you some ideas. So as I've said, the article, can you post the link again?
I can indeed.
Got it. So if anyone's
Almost
got any more... Pardon?
Almost the wrong link.
Nothing dodgy, I hope.
No.
So if anyone's got any ideas, any other ideas, any suggestions, be happy to hear them.
T. Stevens on the list.
Rabbit fur coat.
Yeah. There you go. You can make a hat and all.
Oh, that one's like Dangerfields.
It is. Ask him if it's rabbit fur.
I don't think it is.
Well, have you asked him?
Maybe one at Scrubs in chat can answer that.
What else can you make out of rabbit fur? I'm interested now.
Gloves?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. You can make some rabbit fur gloves. I suppose rabbits are so incredibly commonplace, so ubiquitous amongst Europe. They would have used them for absolutely everything.
Yeah. Yeah, waste not, want not.
Yeah, there you go. Jonathan knows all about it and all.
So do you reckon you'd have to tan the furs?
I would imagine so. I would imagine you'd treat it just like everything else. You probably wouldn't leave it in the solution for quite as long. Because eventually what will happen is the lye solution that you have to put it in will eat through the hair or loosen the hair. I have no idea what the term would be. I would imagine eventually it would damage that, so I don't think it would be in quite as long.
Yeah, I wonder if you can make the tannin solution yourself.
Oh yeah, that's just
How
lye.
might that be?
That's just lye. That's super easy. You can also do it with brain as well, but depending on the animal. There you go. Steve was onto it as well. How many was it on? There you go. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't look terribly difficult whenever I've looked into it.
That might be another overview then. Tannin.
That'd be really interesting. I reckon a lot of people would be really, really interested in that. I would be.
Yeah, I don't think your neighbours will be happy though. It's meant to whiff a bit.
It is when you're doing it on a large commercial scale. I don't know where it would be if you were just doing little bits and bobs.
Well, if we can bring that sort of thing in-house in the community, then that'd be fantastic.
Absolutely, it would be. That really, really would be awesome. Could you imagine how incredible it would be if you were able to produce your own food and then from that your own leather and your own furs? You can make your own blankets.
Well, then you start to build your own industry up.
Absolutely, you do.
Especially,
you actually start to take control of it back again.
Yeah, and you might be able to do it in unique ways, have unique methods and techniques, and that can be another unique selling point.
We need to get onto this. How many rabbits do you reckon it will take to make a jacket? Bit of a grim question, but you know.
I have no idea. How much fur do you reckon you can get from it?
I reckon a lot.
They're not that big.
They're not that big, but you keep in mind that they're round as well. Daffy says 47. I think 47. I think that'd be an enormous jacket, rather. I keep saying jumper. I don't know why. Let's find out. Keep talking. I'm researching.
What you're looking into?
How many rabbits to make a fur coat? You put in how many rabbits and it comes up 30 rabbits. Bloody hell.
30 rabbits for a fur coat?
That ain't bad.
It's a lot of rabbits.
It is a lot of rabbits. You think about it, that's at least 30 mils going on. And then if you bulk out with things like rabbit bolognese, that's many more times mils. I reckon a rabbit... Sorry, on.
It's finding somewhere to store all these rabbits to feed them all.
Yeah, that is the issue.
You need a massive amount.
You need a fair amount of room and you'd need to go up. But at the same time, you can store the skins. You don't need to use them all in one go.
Yeah, true. Although
it's not like you need to produce a jacket a day.
For all this effort, you might as well just buy bovine leather.
Yeah, but this isn't effort. This is just, you know, if you kill like one animal a month or something, 30 months later, bang, you've got yourself a jacket.
Yeah, I suppose just build it up eventually.
Exactly. Or to be more precise, what will probably happen and what happened in the old days, the reason that we have tanneries and things of that nature is because a whole group of people would make or would grow rabbits or would raise cow and whatever else. They then had one skin. Well, you're not able to do terribly much to one skin, so I'll go sell it to Albert who lives down the road. Then Uncle Albert somehow manages to end up with like 40 skins a week.
Yeah, that's actually just reminded me of something that the Ice Age farmer were talking about. It was talking about the factory farming and how horrific that is, and how it's something that over the long term we should want to transition out of. Just not at this time, of course. And he was saying that do you remember the actual figures? It was something like 1 in 5 people or something like that had a few chickens, we could end up eliminating factory farming.
It was 1 in 3.
1 in 3.
Yeah, if 1 in 3 people had, I think it was 5 chickens. I think that's where you got the number 5 from.
I
But
think.
even so, if 1 in 3 people had a couple of chickens, it'd be
Well,
wonderful. We could get rid of it.
I think going forward, as a community, it would be a fantastic idea if people could really take on board this growing their own food and raising their own food. Now, of course, it's not going to be feasible for everybody to be completely self-sufficient food-wise. You're going to need the people who specialize in it, and it's their business to grow as much as they can and to sell this and sell it off. But if each of us can grow our own food and raise it ourselves, I think that'll be a really good idea for not only for people's like self-sufficiency and even mental health, but just for the food supply in the country. It will give us a bit of defence. What do you think?
I fully agree, as you well know. Do North Koreans really live on frozen potatoes? Surely they have rice. I wonder how realistic it is for any number of us to raise things like chickens and rabbits.
I think it'll depend upon what all these government legislation, all these things coming in place because of this so-called outbreak of bird flu. I think if that passes and the COVID goes, we manage to crush all these restrictions, all this nonsense, I reckon it'd be more feasible than we probably think. It all depends.
That was the answer I was looking for. I think more feasible than we think.
It depends how much garden you've got, though, and maybe your neighbours as well.
So Daffy wants us to learn how to fish.
Oh, I used to do some fishing. It's absolutely fantastic.
I've never done it.
Oh, you've gotta go fishing.
I really want to. I've said before, I really, really fancy going out on the sea and doing it.
Oh, I've never done that.
I have a real strong bias towards mackerel. I think it's a wonderful fish.
Well, I'd love to do sea fishing, but I've only done the coarse fishing.
What's that one where you have to get strapped in? Marlin, isn't it?
Strapped into where?
Yeah, when you go, I'm sure it's marlin fishing. No, you have to have a little seat and you get strapped into it.
When you cast into the water?
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. You have to be strapped down into a seat, otherwise it will pull you out.
Oh, I have no idea. Is this sea fishing?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think you do it out in the Caribbean somewhere.
You're trying to catch shark or something?
I don't even know what the hell a marlin is. I think it's just a big mackerel.
I think isn't a marlin a bit like a swordfish? Just a bit more chunky.
I think so. I think. Ooh, what fruit trees do you have, David? Apple has to be one of them, obviously. Everyone needs an apple tree.
Oh yeah, you've got to make your apple crumble with your nice bit of cinnamon on.
See, if you have one of those and you have a little area in the garden for your rhubarb, you're off and away. Here's all trees. Do you have quince? If you don't have quince, I'm not allowing you to say all. Have you ever had quince?
No, I can't say I have. What is it?
I don't entirely know. All I know is that people say they used to grow it in pubs.
Is it a
that
type
right?
of...
There you go. No quints, thereby not all. It kind of looks, if I remember correctly, I'm going to have to Google it just to make sure. No, it does not look, it was not the fruit I thought it was. It looks like a pear,
All right.
a very large pear.
Are you going to pull it up on the screen?
Absolutely. Eventually, it'll get there. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
See, the only thing I know you do with it is you make it into a jelly.
What, you don't eat it like that?
No. I think it's very pappy, I think. Chat's moving too fast. There we go. It's perfect. You got those going, you got your apples going. It's wonderful. See, everyone's complaining about the quince not being very tasty. I have no idea if it is. The Meldar tree, that was the name of the thing I was thinking of. It looks very rude. There you go.
That looks like something off Alien.
Well, it does. It also looks like something else. Which is why I said about it being very rude. I don't know what you do with this thing at all. I would imagine, judging by the look of it, it looks like some sort of apple. Thereby, I imagine you make it into some sort of jelly.
I thought it looks a bit more like a fig.
It's quite large. I've never actually seen one of these things.
How do you know about them then? I've never come across them before.
I don't even know how I know about them. I just knew about them, and then a couple of days ago I saw an article on the BBC about them.
Did it tell you what you'd do with them?
No, actually it didn't. Does anyone know what you do with these things? Somebody's already put it in chat without a doubt. No one has any idea what to do with this thing yet. I'm not surprised. It's kind of an archaic. It just looks old as hell.
Well, here's a question. One's in the chat if you've even heard of this thing.
I reckon there's going to be a lot of twos. We're looking at a Meldar fruit. Or medlar fruit, rather. I am able to speak. You have to eat it when it's rotten. Sounds delightful.
We've got a few ones.
There's a lot of twos, must be said. There's a heck of a lot of twos. Everyone's like, no, I don't want to eat this mouldy fruit. I'd give it a go. I don't have anything against it.
Well, if you ever eat it when it's rotten, I think I will give it a miss.
It is interesting how it just looks old. You look at it and you're like, yeah, I can see you being around shortly after dinosaurs were a thing.
Yeah, it does look a bit prehistoric, doesn't it?
Yeah, archaic. It looks like potpourri. I've heard this. I don't believe it. But apparently figs are created from a wasp going in and getting trapped and then dying and then the fig forming around it.
All right. I've not heard that before.
Neither have I. I've never come across any sort of insect corpse within a fig. I agree with Timmy, it looks natural. Maybe that's what I meant when I said archaic. Apparently this has turned into a quest night.
Yeah, a lot of the fruit and veg that you find in the supermarket, they're very perfect, aren't they? They're very
boring.
They're designed purely to appeal to people. They're not like they appear in nature. I think that's something we need to get used to.
That's an enormous tree.
Look at that, it's big.
That is a big boy. Right, that did not zoom in very much. Are dates dried figs? No. Where's it gone? God, that chat's moving too fast. There we go. If I remember rightly, dates are their own fruit and dried figs are prunes. I think.
I can't help you with that. I think dates are their own thing, but I don't know about the...
Dates are definitely their own thing.
They taste completely different.
They do. Dates are lovely. Figs are very nice as well. Yeah, like a nice medjool date. They're wonderful things. Oh, there we go. Plums are prunes, apparently. I bow to the chef. The man knows everything. Sarah says, insects enter the flower. Flower entraps the insect, the fig grows. I've still never ever come across an insect in my fig. I also had the same question. How old is that tree? It looks ancient. I just realised the audio thing may be playing up. Are you back, Andrew?
I am gone.
Fair enough. You were just silent, and we've been having that weird sort of thing whereby if the thing is up, I get cut off. I completely forgot.
Well, it looks like we've managed an hour, so
hopefully... Hey, we've done well. Better than expected.
We'll take it 10 minutes at a time now, and hopefully I don't get kicked out.
Hopefully not. How's Linux treating you, by the way?
Well, to be honest, this is the first time I've used it since all the problems.
Are you having fun with it?
Yeah, it's all right. There's two problems that I've got with the Linux Mint, at least with my laptop. The first one is if I press one of the increase or decrease volume buttons, it can sometimes jump up one to increase it or decrease it, and then it speeds to the other side. So if you want to increase the volume, you'll press it once, and you might press it twice, and it will shoot up to max.
Oh, that sounds bad.
Right. Yeah.
That sounds really bad.
Oh, why? It's not good. I'll do it the opposite way, where you want to decrease the volume a bit, and then it completely mutes everything.
That sounds slightly better.
Yeah. So
I'd rather it just mute rather than deafen me.
Well, that's the first problem. The second one is sometimes the actual keyboard, it seems to stop. It just stops working, which is it's odd because the volume problem always happens. So that's a known quantity. The keyboard problem, it's completely intermittent, which, as you know, is the worst type of problem.
Absolutely, it is. Is it just a Spanish laptop?
No.
Are you sure? It doesn't like to work sometimes, but it does at others.
So I'll have to get that sorted.
Johnny Not Power asks, "Are you sure it's a laptop?" I should hope so.
Well, I'm assuming it is. I mean, it works fine with Windows 10, but just Linux Mint, it's just not been as reliable. So
Well, you can change over to one of the other distros.
yeah, I kind of like Linux Mint though.
Why?
I just like the look of it, and I've had experience with Linux Mint and Debian, not Debian, with Ubuntu before. Those are the two I've had experience with, so I'd prefer to stick with them. But
isn't the entire point of Linux to be able to swap into all of them and give them a try and then say, "Oh no, I don't like this much"?
Well, I suppose so. I prefer to find one that I like and then settle with it and get to know that.
Thank you for that, John. We will be doing the gardening stream proper on Thursday. We're going to be looking at no-till and preparing beds and all the rest of that sort of stuff. Which has been interesting because it wasn't something I knew terribly much about. My only experience with no-till gardening so far has not actually been gardening at all, but it's been the backfield and the incredible frigging flooding mess they've made out of that. But no, I've been looking into it. I'm coming around to it. I'm open-minded. It's logical. It makes sense. It's reasonable. I'm not entirely convinced it works with commercial farming. Though that could also be the unbelievable amount of chemicals they spray in the field. So
are you doing any gardening of any type?
I will be. I'm going to be growing some potatoes at the very least. Which is ironic considering I don't like potatoes, but you know.
Why are you growing potatoes then?
Because I can't grow rice. I can't grow rice and I can't grow bloody wheat, so
why not something like carrots?
I could grow them as well, but actually I wonder how many carrots I could grow in a tub.
Well, Jonathan, today we're talking about rainbow carrots. That might be something to try out.
Homosexual carrots. Are you sure?
Pull them up. They look a bit bizarre, but I think this is something that we should be trying. All these different varieties that you don't normally see in the supermarkets.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially,
I'm fully on board with that one.
Especially if they naturally can grow in the UK or wherever you are, you know.
I'm really interested in growing old styles of fruit as well. Like fruit and veg and all that sort of stuff. I think that's really, really interesting, really important.
Old style?
Yeah. There we go.
But ones that aren't commercially available?
Yeah, exactly. Ones that aren't commercially available and varieties that you never see and all the rest of that. I'm fully on board with it. I just don't like potatoes. Potatoes are... They're boring.
What about mashed potato?
Yeah, it's kind of boring and all, isn't it?
Oh, flipping heck. Mashed potato, fantastic.
Yeah, it's just kind of... There you go. Johnny Not Powers onto this. Parsnips are wonderful.
Awful. Absolutely awful.
They're not awful.
They're dreadful.
Are you French?
I can't be doing with parsnips.
The French don't like parsnips either. They call them horse feed.
What about roast potatoes?
It depends.
Oh,
roast potatoes cooked with meat, 10 out of 10. There is nothing better than roast potatoes that have been cooked with like a nice beef or something. Roast potatoes just cooked by themselves, you know, uh, indifferent, shall I say.
so what do you think of them?
Those carrots are interesting. They're very colourful. Ooh, crap.
I think I'd have
Didn't
to
mean to
get
do that.
over the fact that they're different colours because I'm so used to eating orange carrots.
They originally used to be purple, and everyone loves pointing it out. It's like the most annoying food fact known to mankind.
I wonder when they became orange then.
Those William of Orange in the 1600s, they made the bloody carrot orange because the reason that it's like the QI episode that everybody knows. Now, as we all know, chat, I am the carrot on the far left. Then we will be moving on. The heck is this? That's just the little rounds of carrot. That's strange. I wonder what other odd little vegetables we could have. I hate beetroot.
Oh, I like beetroot.
Oh, beetroot's awful. The reason I just truly despise beetroot is the way that my mother used to eat them. She used to just put like oil and vinegar over and a bit of salt.
Well, pickled
please.
beetroot I like. I'm actually got a batch of beetroot in the seed sprouter now, but it doesn't seem to be doing much.
Just wait a while. It'll become bulbous.
A couple of the a couple of the seeds have gone a bit odd. They've gone a bit squishy, and yeah, I had to throw them away. I don't know what that were all about. But I think they look like, when they're done, they look like cress, but purple. So,
Have you ever had an odd coloured beetroot?
I don't think so.
They all taste the same. They taste of dirt, but I don't know. You may enjoy growing them. I fully accept that I'm the weird one when it comes to beets. I completely 100% accept that. I don't mind it. I'm 100% with Bazooka Joe. They are just the most heinous vegetable mankind's ever known. Who picked this bloody thing out of the ground, bit into it and think, oh, this piece of matter that tastes like the surrounding dirt. Oh, what a wonderful treat this is.
I won't mind having a go at growing that.
Hey, you should give it a go. There you go. Pickle it, as Roy Bob says. Give it a pickle.
Yeah, I like pickled beetroot. And red cabbage as well.
Yeah. Horseradish, there you go. That's something else some people can grow.
Is that a herb?
Weird root, if I remember rightly. There you go, yeah. Horseradish plant. That's actually what I want. I'm sure it goes in the ground. It's not like one of those odd things that stick out of it. Yeah, there you go. Oh, it's like a big rocket. Interesting.
Well, I've got some chili pepper seeds, which I plan on giving a go. I think they're called Prairie Fire.
Are you going to be making them into chili sauce or just having them as is?
Oh, I have no idea. It depends if they work first.
Oh, they should work. They're surprisingly easy to grow.
Oh well, I'll definitely report back. I'd like
Please
to
do.
try. I'd like to try to make some preserves out of some of the stuff, even if it's like pickles.
Absolutely. I'm in the same boat. I just really want to do that sort of thing. It's interesting. It's also bloody useful.
Yeah, I like to try and grow my own gherkins.
They're just cucumber, aren't they?
I think so.
I never remember the difference between them and the other little things. Help me. The brain has just died. The other little, the small gherkins, whatever they're called.
Well, gherkins are pretty small.
No, but aren't they different? The little ones and the big ones, aren't they two different things?
I think you might be thinking of courgettes and aubergines.
No, I know what an aubergine is. The aubergine is the big purple thing. Big purple thing, and the Greeks and Italians love them. But I have no idea why. They're rather boring. Do you mean marrows?
That's the one, marrow.
Marrows are wonderful. I was late for a stream once because I was eating my marrow. So Ian Marr says a gherkin is a pickled courgette. And a courgette is just... Sorry, go on.
They're a lot smaller, you know. So I don't know if they're like a microgreen where it's stopped, the life cycle stopped earlier. I'll have something to look into.
See, cornichons, that's another thing. This is what the stream should have been called. Understanding your veg. Yeah, see, courgette is marrow, exactly. That's what I said. Marrow is really nice. You get that, you stuff it with some lamb, tomato, and rice, 10 out of 10.
Doing a quiche with a courgette's nice.
Oh, yeah. Quiches in general are quite nice. They're very underrated because people's experience with quiches are those horrible little stupid ones you buy out of supermarkets.
I quite like them.
Yeah, but a proper homemade one is so good it blows them out of water.
Or one bought in a butcher's. That's really nice.
You just want to be a butcher, don't you?
Well, I like to have my own local butchers. But things like pork pies and Cornish pasties, sausage rolls, it's fantastic. Miles better.
We should do a pie stream one day. Just have a breakdown of all the varying types of pies and why they're great. There's not even a question of, are they great? It's just, no, this is why this one is great. We should do that one day. It'd be bloody hilarious. We might do that on a Saturday, maybe. I agree, Daffy. Good pork pies are hard to find. I wonder how long you could store grain for.
$6 months, perhaps.
No, I reckon more than that. I was thinking like a year or two.
I suppose it depends how you store it and make sure you do it properly.
I don't really know how practical it would be storing a bunch of grain and then milling it into your own flour. I don't think we're going to be getting to that stage, but, you know, it's an interesting thought nonetheless.
Well, not with that attitude, you won't.
No. We're going to be in the stage where we'll just be eating microgreens.
I hope not.
Do you reckon that would make a good feed for animals?
Microgreens?
Yeah. But a bit expensive for that, maybe.
Yeah. Bear in mind, you're not going to get your seeds back. You're not going to be...
That's a good point.
I mean, with some of the batches of microgreens that I've had, you'd buy, let's say, £3 for a pack of seeds, and you might get one batch out of it. I've had that with a couple of them I've tried. Well, you can get about 4 or 5 meals worth, maybe a few more, depending on how much you use. And bear in mind, this is just on top of it. So it's not going to be sustainable in that sense.
So it's not like a fodder.
Oh, no.
This here could be a bloody decent thing for people who have chickens and various other bits and bobs. Because that is basically exactly what you're going on about with the sprouts. It's exactly the same thing.
Is that done in soil?
No. That's just done on a tray. But they're plastic trays. You spread some seed out on them, you water it, they sprout up, and then you pull them out and done. Then pop them back in, you get another batch. Barley is what's typically used, but you can use various other bits and bobs. But there you go. That's the general premise behind it. So as you imagine, if you had a little area somewhere with that, let's say you're like 10 trays or what have you, doesn't take up much room, doesn't require much light. Exactly, Bertie. It is what food eats. Yeah, it could be a good little thing to help supplement chickens' diets and rabbits' diets and stuff like that, maybe.
You just need the space and the production all built up, wouldn't you? You couldn't do
It
it.
shouldn't take up terribly much room. 7 trays of that. Well, they grow. They take about 7 to 10 days to grow. So if you had 7 trays, there you go. That's one cycle. I suppose the storage of the grain itself would be the harder part.
Yeah, you won't be able to store that for long. I think it's a day or two in the fridge.
I'm trying to put it in the fridge. Just give it to them.
Well, if you said to store it, you said the storage
If
would be-
needed. Sorry, I meant the storage of the actual grain itself. The raw, unsprouted grain. Oops. Oh, there we go. Thank you very much. You. Right, there is the link for tonight's show as well in chat. If people want to go through that. There's a whole bunch of links on there, and links that link off to other things that we've done, such as the library. Did you have anything else you wanted to cover on the food aspect?
No, that was it.
Good. I thought it was a good show.
Yeah.
I think food is something that people desperately need to start paying more attention to. I know we are, but I don't think the average person is, even though they're buying a lot of food at the moment. I don't really think they're understanding particularly why, or the threat that there is. This is why they're focusing so much on toilet paper.
Well, it's the whole COVID thing. The media has put the fear of God in people. So people are so focused on the COVID that I think even if alarm bells were going to start to be raised about the food situation, I don't think it'd register with them.
Agreed. I fully agree. I don't think people will really start paying attention to this for quite a while. Oops. I think COVID will die down. I think COVID is basically just the first little step.
Yeah.
They're going to have their fun and games with that, and then they're going to move on to the cyber COVID, which is obviously our next threat. That will be coming our way in the next couple of weeks and months. And then they're going to whack us with the food shortage as well.
Yeah, it's all happening very fast.
It is. Remarkably quickly. I don't think any of us actually thought the crazy preppers would be right.
Yeah, I bet they're quite smug now.
Oh, I bet they are. Preppers have been sitting there for years saying, oh, this is the end of the world as we know it. It's going to come. This is going to happen, blah, blah, blah. It never did. They kept saying, oh, government's going to round you up and they're going to keep you indoors. Up until last February, they never did. So yeah, they're definitely coming at us, and we need to get ready in various ways.
Yeah, and if people do take this on board and start preparing, and everything ends up fine, which obviously we hope it does, well, great. You've been in a fantastic position anyway.
Oh, exactly. This is the thing. If you're growing your own food anyway and nothing happens, it doesn't matter. You know, who's ever turned around at the end of the day and said, if only I wasn't growing so many strawberries. Or if only I wasn't self-sufficient on potatoes, my life would be so much better. Nobody said that. People have just gotten out of the habit of growing this sort of thing. I don't even like to say people have become lazy about it. Because I don't think we are lazy. We've gotten out of the habit of doing it. And unlike once upon a time, there were a couple of people in the village who weren't growing food, but everybody else was, so it didn't really matter. Nowadays, hardly anybody's growing food.
Well,
So it's more noticeable.
I think the UK only provides, I think it's 37% of our own food.
Yep, correct.
Which is just ridiculous. Especially when you consider the increase in the population.
Yeah. The population has increased rapidly. And the amount of food that we produce here has just gone through the floor.
Well, it's about time we start changing that.
Absolutely, and I fully agree with Boudica as well. If we grow food, we have to start making our own meals from it.
Oh, yeah. I think that's going to be another thing to focus on.
Yeah, well, I've said about this before. I'd really like for us to create a little cookbook.
Yeah,
that would be bloody awesome.
Traditional English recipes would be something that I would be personally interested in.
Same here. I'd like two different types. I would like traditional recipes, so very, very quick ones, and then just traditional ones. I definitely think we're going to have a very hard time with quick ones because that's not really what we do. That's not our culture. That's not anything that we have. But yeah, it should be interesting nonetheless. It's certainly something that we should look into, something that we should get on with.
Yeah.
It's something that we probably will over the coming weeks. Might even create something Discord for it. People can put recipes and stuff that they cook in there. And we can compile them all, make them into a PDF, and there you go, everyone can go download it.
Yeah, sounds like a fantastic idea.
What do you say is the most English thing?
Oh, I don't know. Pork pie?
Gee, I was thinking a pie. It's definitely got to be a pie. It's either going to be like a Cornish pasty or some sort of pork pie or a steak pie.
I think a Cornish pasty.
Boudica agrees. She says pasties and all. Queuing isn't a food. Fish and chips is banned, so that can't be it either. Cheese on toast isn't a bloody meal.
It's not a substantial meal, is it?
No. Pork chop. Surely everyone who has pigs have pork chops. I would agree with roasts, to be honest. Oh, bloody hell, it's going fast. I would agree with roasts. Okay, it went away. Meat and veg. See, we're quite simple people, really, when it comes to food.
Oh, yeah. Meat and two veggies is a very good, very simple thing to start cooking if you...
It's bloody nice and all. What more do you need?
Oh, yeah. A couple of sausages, some carrots and broccoli.
I do agree. I would say I'm not sure we're known for fish. We just eat a lot of it. Yeah, we never had fish until the European Union came along and showed us how to do it. It's literally not potatoes. It's never potatoes. Potatoes is never the answer. It can't be anything from Yorkshire either. Yorkshire's banned.
No. It's the best part of the UK, the Yorkshire.
Hey, what's wrong with Devon? And Cornwall?
It's not Yorkshire.
No pirates came from there. All you've got is Jeffrey Boycott.
There's a reason that we call it God's own county.
It's the bloody reason he acts it. Sunburn. But you can't eat it, but I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. I agree. See, sweet potatoes so much better than normal potatoes. Okay, lads. So it is now 9 o'clock almost. Did you have anything else to add?
No, I think
No, I did not. I thought that was bloody well done. That was all covered. I'm very pleased with that. I'm just going to pop the link in the chat one more time in case anybody wants it. As I said earlier on, there is a whole bunch of stuff that it is linked to, including some of our material from before, and including the 2 industry overviews that Andrew's put together. Nope. Oops. No, I'm not entirely sure who those people are. There's nothing to do with us. We are the White Rose and Thorn. The links to us are in the description below. Thank you very much, Philomena.
Thanks,
So
Philomena.
yes, we will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm not entirely sure what we're covering, but it is the ward meeting. I also forgot to change the background. Nobody at any stage pointed that out to me. 1 minute. Oh, it's not even uploaded. God dang it. Whatever. Thanks everybody for not noticing that. And yeah, we're going over onto the Discord now. I'll take it we're going into the pub. I also believe that Nick will be streaming at this moment in time. So if anyone wants to go there, by all means, he is over on D Live as Unwashed. Mid link, son of a gun. We all know who he is, don't need to bring him up. Oh, it's still snowing there. Lucky. Very lucky. I saw 2 flakes of snow today. I was so excited. I thought we were going to get more and then none arrived. I was so disappointed. So disappointed. It really irritated me. I got so hopeful.
Have you had no snow at all?
I had two bloody flakes of it. And one of which, to be honest, I'm not even sure was snow. It could have easily been a bird feather. So yes, anyway, pub time. We will see you all tomorrow. Thank you for joining me, Andrew.
Goodbye, everyone.